Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So welcome back to the teaching on chapter 9, the chapter of wisdom, from the renowned text, The Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, written by Bodhisattva Shantideva and generously given to us by Geshe, Dorji, Damdul. Just a quick reminder to open your cameras if possible and to switch off your microphones unless given permission to speak. I will also post on the chat in a few moments the links for donation and the Dharma Friends original website and YouTube channel for more information. Without further ado, we'd like to begin. Geshe, thank you very, very much for your generosity and kindness.
Okay. No. Mare. Nagtitang mas basta ki. Tashidele, all of you. So basically, we completed chapter 9, the wisdom chapter, and so today I'm thinking of doing the 3 principal parts or the 3 principal aspects of the path. That is like it includes the purpose of chapter 9, the wisdom chapter, and you can see the why the wisdom is so important, and another point that I'd like to share with you is that the inner life, how we see things at the face of your life, and then gradually over 10 years, and then still another 10 years, we started to see things differently all the time, and then a little more comprehensive. At the same time, if we're not being careful, then the danger is that we encounter with, say, the episodes of the life. And as that happens, then as a means to defend yourself, the person tends to become more and more cruel, more and more cunning, because that is the easiest way. There's the easiest way to defend yourself, but extremely unwise, becoming unkind, cunning, and the cruel to defend yourself. So basically speaking, we see that the people who are cruel, it's not that they want to become cruel. They choose to become cruel because that we have an innate desire and innate feeling of the self-centeredness. So oftentimes, the genetic scientists would call us the selfish gene. It is there within us. And till one achieves enlightenment, or till one achieves as Aid Bhumi, we are being infested with the self-centered attitude. And this self-centered attitude wants the best thing for yourself. And in the process, when you come to the world, there are all the people there who also have their own share of the self-centered attitude. Then with this, they want to, they want the best. In the process, they don't know how to get the best. And because of which they try to do something unlawful. And in the process, you feel hurt. And then in ways to defend yourself, then you also don't know how to defend yourself well. You don't have the equipment to defend yourself well. What is that equipment that we have from the past life? Is the anger, cruelty, and the cunningness. So these are the equipments that we brought from the past lives. Everyone has said this. We don't have to train. We already have them with us. The fact that we are suffering is a clear indication that we have these equipments with us, but we don't have the wise equipments. So for that matter, what we're doing here, this is so precious. And even to say hear about the wisdom of emptiness, hear about the concept, wake up from the sleep of ignorance, and then actually studying. And then not only studying, and then reflecting, how are things just the reflection of one's own mind. Then on not only reflecting, getting conviction, and then actually meditating on this to see how things are like dream. And how then you feel the effect in your own mind, how the mind, your emotions are being, healed because of this, the insight. So we see that there is in the form of the graded fashion, that how we utilize, how we practice this wisdom of emptiness. So with this mind, today we're going to do 3 principal aspects of path. And I personally would say that so this text, 3 principles, is very short, yet very concise. And since I was like 19 or 20, of course, this is written by one of the greatest giants of the philosopher, psychologist, enlightened being, and the practitioner, Lama Tsongkhapa, and it's so concise. And so I keep reading this, and of course, not only reading, memorized, and reflect on meanings, and there are many things to be unfolded, because what he said, whenever Lama Tsongkhapa says something, that there is a reason there, and where we know the overall we know the overall meaning of what the verse conveys. But still, if you are unable to connect the links, which means that there's still something which you are yet to unfold. It's not that randomly these are connected like this. There's a reason why Lama Tsongkhapa put it in this particular style. So this extremely precious text, and so whenever I reflect on the meanings of this, I always feel something missing within me, that this is something that I have to explore more. So we're going to do this text. So the setting a proper motivation, and given that for this year, this is going to be the last 2 days. Yes, and so let us make a setting proper motivation. For that matter, say for the refuge field, let us visualize the Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and the Arya Manjushri, Arya Maitreya, then the Arya Nagarjuna, Acharya Arya Deva, then Acharya Chandragirti, Bodhisattva Shanti Deva, and Lama Selingpa, Lama Atisha, and all the enlightened beings in the space in front of you, so loving, caring, and embracing, where we should feel that may I and all the sentient beings never be separated from the guidance, the radiance, the blessings of these enlightened beings. And then for the Bodhisattva field, let us visualize your two parents on the two sides, and then all your family members, including children, and all dear mother sentient beings living on the other side. And here, visualize that you are like the mother, and all others like small children who do not know what the wisdom of emptiness is. And because of which seeing things are so solidified, so real, and then being affected by the contents of the dreamlike phenomena, and then as a defensive measure, then one goes into reacting to these experiences, again creating more negative karmas to be rejected, to suffer in samsara. And seeing these realities, you feel so compassionate, so loving, so caring. As though like your own children, they're fighting amongst themselves, and whereas you love all of them equally. It's all because of the immaturity in their thoughts that they are fighting amongst each other, while they're all brothers and sisters. And you could see this, and you just embrace everyone to make them mature. Buddhist mind, let us take a few seconds to invoke the spirit. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, with the spirit of bodhicitta, let us recite the verses as follows. And to for great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And to for great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And to for great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Sanje jodo zoge jonam no chanjo pardo dane gyapso che dage jinso kebe sonam ge tola benjere sanje dubare jo sanje joda zoge jonam no chanjo pardo dane gyapso che dage jinso kebe sonam ge tola benjere sanje dubare jo Sanje joda zoge chonam no chanju bardo dane gyabzo che dage jinso gebe sonam ge dola benjere sanje rupare sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all lead, hear, speak, seeking pacification and complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience help subdue us, expound the varieties of teachings. the one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector to your frustrations, the one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you the Buddha make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Meaning of the Nyingbo mantra: all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well as taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-lighted, non-composite. Such is the nectar-like dharma I've discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I'll return to the woods. Beyond our trends, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the 3 times of your obeisance. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcendent soul is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dhamma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is also everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If you're attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you're attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you're attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there's grasping, you do not have the view. Teatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Teatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Tyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Okay. The three principal aspects of the path. This is referred to as the three principal. The principal meaning the main. I don't know if I shared with, most likely I shared with this group, the anecdote, which where my teacher was, one of my teachers was involved, Venerable Geshe Rinpoche, who was lifelong the hermit. And I was very fortunate. Although he always declined whenever I made personal request to him, please accept me as your personal student. He always declined, not really declined. He was saying that it's later on I discovered that it was more out of his humility, because I was already, he was hermit, and whereas I was a part of the proper academic institution where all the studies, practice were being taught, and so he was feeling really, the same expression of humility that he did not, he never said they said directly that okay. He never said it. And he was always saying that, yeah, you can study like this. And now I realize that this is the greatness of the teacher. So what I do is that for me, in my heart, he's one of the greatest inspirations in my life. And there are many, all my teachers. I'm very fortunate. With this, as a young boy, age perhaps 17, from school, and my seniors, some of the seniors in the school are doing mathematics, physics, biology, and so forth. And in the boys' hostel, some of the seniors, they would go to receive some teachings from him. And then one of my seniors, who was one year senior to me, and I sent a message to him that I was going through some rough sleep in those days, with very bad dreams. So I sent a message to him if I can have a personal audience with him. And then he accepted. I got the message back, and I went there, and he was a little reserved. The Venerable Geshe, he was a little, not reserved, like, well, I don't know what, like a little anxious. And he must be in his, I think, in his 40s, late 40s, and I was just 17. And then this boy, senior boy, must have informed him that he is good in studies, and particularly in science, and he has many questions. So the Venerable Geshe must have thought that, oh, this boy must have come to challenge Buddhist philosophy. And he was a little anxious. And I was very innocent. There's nothing, not at all meant to challenge. I was going through my own difficulties, like, the bad dreams, one of the other. And they report this. And then he, of course, greatly experienced in the process of the mind, or the phenomena related to the mind. And then instantly he felt that, okay, this boy did not come to challenge me. So I could feel that instantly he became, he felt at ease. And then he said that the young boy, if you don't have suffering, you don't need Buddhism. Wow, even today, I'm really astonished by this. Wow, that's amazing, perplexing, is amazing. That, wow, he did not really have any modern education. He just brought up as the monk in a traditional monastery. That's it. And this was his training. And yet what he said resonates, the most brilliant, open-minded, thinking. It's amazing. If you have no suffering, you don't need Buddhism. Wow, even today, I'm really awestruck by what is said. So the point is that finally, say the Buddhism, or say some of you may be teachers, or some of you may be going through, running your own businesses. Why you're doing these things? For a purpose, for a reason. What is that reason? First thing, you must be very sure before our mind is being indoctrinated by any other philosophy, thoughts, and so forth. Even if we are already indoctrinated, because we're already in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and we're already indoctrinated by, some say you meet anybody, somehow you are influenced by that person, and you stay in a particular the system for long. The influence is there. We're already influenced. Now, just see if you can acquire this, the open mind to explore, why am I doing all these things? Say, at the Professor Nobel, the Nobel laureates, why are they going to deep research, their researchers? Why? Or the Nobel Peace Prize winners. So why they are struggling to create the world peace here and there? Or let's say that the religious, the teachers, or this rabbi, or this lama, or this teacher, or this guru, or whatever. So why they are, doing like this? And when they become sick, they have to go to hospital. That's true. When they become sick, they have to go to the hospital. So everyone, we just look at things, look at this world, from a very open lens of your mind. Then you see that everybody is doing something. For what? For a purpose. What is that purpose? Purpose is twofold. Believe it or not, purpose is either to get rid of your suffering or to expand your happiness. That's it. And happiness, some people, they may not agree with this word happiness, because they, when I go to give these talks, and when I talk about happiness, some say, no, we don't really look for happiness. And some say that some who are more who are more honest in their thoughts, they would say that we're looking for fulfillment, not really happiness. I don't know what they mean by happiness. It doesn't matter, the vocabularies. You're looking for fulfillment, you're looking for happiness, you're looking for ease, and I prefer the word ease to avoid all these complications. The ease. Okay. So this is what we're seeking, to stay away from suffering. When we have health issues, we go to hospital. Why? To stay away from the suffering. And then there is for your birthdays, you like to have, you entertain, nicer foods. Why? To expand our happiness. That's it. So as simple as that. And then try to see this in different forms, like COVID, put on the mask, to stay away from the fear. Yeah, and so the point is that finally, what we are seeking, we should not forget what we are seeking. Or if you're not too sure, we have to we have to analyze as what I'm seeking, what everybody's seeking. Whether you agree with me or not, the point is that everybody seeks to stay away from suffering and seeks to embrace the maximum happiness. Whether you're Buddhist or not, there's no difference. Whether you're Israeli or not, there's no difference. Whether you're a boy or a girl, there's no difference. Everyone is seeking that. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Including the big religious heads, including the big politicians, including poorest of the person on the street. Everybody is seeking these two things. This is reality. And this is a reality which holds true across the board of the humanity. Not only humanity, board of the sentient beings. This is a reality. So now the point is that oftentimes we could not articulate what's going in mind, while these two are the things that we are seeking, but we could not articulate. So I need a job, I need a house, I need a car, I need a mobile, the iPhone 13, or I don't want to be COVID. You could not articulate in summary what you want. We could not articulate it. To put it simply, just to stay away from sufferings, or technically speaking, stay away from fears, and to expand your happiness. if possible. Expand to ease. This is a reality. Everybody seeing those, including those people who go to Himalaya, sacrifice their food, sacrifice their everything, and they stay there in the snow mountains, naked, without food, meditating. Even they're also seeking something they want to run away from, say, depend on what they want. They want to be some kind of the inner bliss, or they want to stay away from samsaric, the fears and so forth. This is what they're doing. Again, the same thing. So with this in mind, we have to know this. And there's a Tibetan expression which says that if you are a competent person, Nirvana is in your own home. Even if you're in a town, you are in a city, Nirvana is in your home. Enlightenment is in your home. This is Tibetan expression, which means that if you are competent, if you know what you are seeking so well, then you'll see why, wherever you are, as a monk, as a nun, as a layperson, or as a teacher, or as a student, or as a businessman, you still can have your enlightenment within you, in wherever you are. What does it mean by that? What does it mean by that? So this says what is very clearly indicated here in the three principles of the path. Okay, with this in mind, say, what are the three principal paths? Renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness, three. And then in the Tibetan practice, Tibetan Buddhism, there is one additional thing, which is Tantra. And this Tantra is not actually additional. This is just a means to expedite the first three. Expedite the first three, that's it. For example, it is like accelerator in the case of a car. You need the oil, you need the wheel, all these things are required there, whether you run slow, whether you run fast, you require these things. Now, to accelerate this, you need the accelerator. So likewise, this practice, the Tantra, it is to accelerate these three practices to achieve your goal. That is the point. So finally, the point is, and it is so important for us, don't just be carried away by advertisements like this is the greatest thing. Don't be carried away. Maintain open mind. At the same time, in your life, say your 3 years of being in the Buddhist teachings, your 5 years, your 10 years. From there, okay, just tell me what I was like when I first joined the Buddhist teachings. What I was like, and what I'm like today. Is there any change? If there's any change, is there any change? Not because extra white hair, not this change. This is a change what is bound to happen to everybody, but a change in terms of your mind, where everybody goes. The ordinary people, they go in trend A, and you go in trend, say the B. If you could see a little change in the mind. Otherwise, I would also go in this trend A. Now I'm going to trend B, where I feel so calmer, much more calmer under these difficulties. Still, I feel much calm. Otherwise, I would feel so agitated, irritated, and so forth. So this change is there. So when you see this change came from what? From recitation mantras, or from making prostrations? Making prostrations, your health will be good. It's going to be exercise. That's good. Health, gym is also good. So there's no. Now, if there's a real change happening, you will discover that it's because of you controlling your afflictions. Controlling afflictions, your anger, and so forth. These are the real change makers. So, therefore, the point is that the wisdom of emptiness, impermanence, then reflection on the suffering nature, these really bring concrete, solid change within us. And some people who are fully dedicated, like 24 hours, they're dedicated, they sacrifice everything. Their mind is so directed towards the Dharma, that they spend 24 hours in this, totally cut off from the world, and then actually say meditating on the winds, channels, and so forth. And then these people, they can do another change that happens is that where their mind directs, where they, whatever point they direct, their mind is directed towards any point, the energy gets withdrawn in that particular. So these the ordinary people cannot do, and this something can be done by these people. That's a change there. Otherwise, and this change, simply because of this change, the ability to move the bodily energies. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything unless and until, say, it is like the food. The food where, okay, let's say that okay, so let's say that I have this mobile. This mobile does not mean anything if there's no, say, the towers, the satellites, the towers to send the messages from one to the connectivity. All this connectivity, if they are missing, however sophisticated this mobile is totally irrelevant 50 years ago, 100 years ago, totally irrelevant. So likewise, all these sophisticated practices, they are very sophisticated, but they are totally irrelevant if these three things are missing. The main towers, the towers of the connectivity, they are missing. These are all just nothing, to be very honest. Okay, so with this in mind, I'll say just, yes, study, reflect, meditate. Also you are bound to hear, stories, anecdotes from people, this enlightened being, that's, and so forth. But you also have another information of your own real life. The last 5 years of my being in Buddhism, last 10 years of my being, that is the information which is exclusively for you. This is your first-hand experience. From there, just check in what way these last 5 years of being in Buddhism, Buddhist teachings helped me. And it may not have taken you from the Gade to the Gade, but not from Gade to the minus Gade. Sometimes that also happens. Many people that happens, minus Gade happens. Because they have to defend themselves. The real life is very different. A small child, when they graduate from the school, till the school, they're being protected by their parents and the school. When they get out of the school, when they go to college, say some of you, they already heard it from me, say, my mobile has to get messages or telephone. When I'm in the middle of meetings, or say the meetings, or some important meetings, or some important work that I'm doing, or my prayers, if I receive a call, I first look at who's the sender is. If the one who sends me is just someone who is graduated from the school, I make sure that I pick this up. Even though I'm in the middle of my practice or middle of my meeting with somebody else, I make sure that I pick this up. Because this person, this child will feel dejected. Because now the child is facing the reality of the life. That's why being protected. Now reality of life, they need help. They need, they're going through a transition. Transition from very protected place, protected area, space, time, to the unprotected area. They feel so vulnerable. The real life is very different. Only if you have, they say only, okay, just a joke. Let's say if you have Gucci, if you have Luton, all these in your shops, then so many people will come. If you have only the small items, the second-hand items in your, hardly anybody will come. So therefore, this life is a big, big challenge. You all know that. And who are the first person to suffer the vulnerabilities are those people who just come out of the schools. So I make sure that I pay attention. I don't neglect their phones. Whereas those who are already in the colleges for 3 years, 5 years, so forth, if I receive a call and if I'm in a busy meeting, I don't pick up because they know, right? They have sent all the calls to so many people, nobody responded to them many times. So they know, oh, usually he picks up the phone. Today he didn't pick up, which means he must be busy. But the one who graduated from the school will not think, just graduated come out of school, will not think like this. Will think that now he has abandoned me. So the pain is so much for this child. Okay. So what I'm saying is that in a real life, just see that the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years being in Dharma, what has changed, within me. And so, okay, no change, but I'm lucky that I did not go minus gade gade. That is also amazing. That's also because of the Dharma, right? Otherwise, without the Dharma, I should have gone minus gade gade, perhaps minus paragade, right? In fact, there was one teacher, on he he's very jovial and he is very humorous, and he had many of his foreign students. He's a Tibetan. Foreign students, and then when he was in Germany, his foreign students all gathered and invited him for a lunch in first hotel. And then everybody ordered their own food, and he ordered non-veg food, and all his students ordered vegetarian food. And the students, they know that their teacher is very jovial and very humorous, and he can, take things very lightly. So the students, they joked. They said that, "Sir, you are our teacher, and all your students ordered vegetarian food, and you ordered non-veg food." So the teacher said, first what he said is that he said, "Ha ha 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 ha!" Just he laughed. And then the students, they thought that he was going to feel offended. And so he just laughed, ha 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 ha. And the students, why? And he said that, just imagine each one of you are so fortunate. And that's why, if I am not a Buddhist, I will eat each one of you up. Lucky that I'm only eating this non-veg food, not each one of you. Each one of you are spared because I'm a Buddhist. Otherwise, I would eat each one of you up. You are not there. You will not survive now. So this is a big message. So what I'm saying is that the transformations takes place, and see, in real life, that is the best of the information. You get so many information from person A, person B, person C. Person A saying that mindfulness meditation, this is the best of the meditation in the world. If you get it, then everything will be sorted out. And some will say, Mani Padme mantra, right? You just recite this mantra, you'll get everything what you want. But nobody will tell you that you recite Om Mani Padme mantra, you'll get everything. I'm just replacing some other mantra with money mantra, because people will feel offended. So what I'm saying is that these are the things happening. So many information you're getting, and which is the one which you can undoubtedly rely the most is your own last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years of time with Buddhism. That information is the best experiential information. From this, you come to realize that, okay, what actually helped me? Okay, now me. Since my childhood, I'm into Buddhism. And then there's a school time, like age of these 15, 16, 17, then more intense into Buddhism in the school. Then joined the IBD, then joined the Damdul monastery. So all these many years, when I go back in time, I think, okay, yeah, there are many times where I should defend myself. Many times where, how to defend aggression. And then looking at whole my life as a movie, from there, I could say, okay, so what is Dorji today? What was Dorji 20 years ago, 30 years ago? You want to go back? I would say no. What I'm today, this is the best. What I'm today. Whatever little practice that I did, all these studies that I went through, the little practice that I did, from this, I can see that I'm very happy. This happiness is so precious. It's not just a natural happiness that I'm physically healthy and then nobody's creating problem on me. No, it's a deliberate attempt. because of the kindness of my teachers, that impermanence, suffering, emptiness, these things. And then, of course, it's a long, many years. But whatever slight change happened, this is all because of the Dharma. This is so precious, so precious. So that information, reflection on impermanence, that helps. Reflection on emptiness, that helps. Reflection on the suffering of others, that helps. And then say somebody creates problem on you. And, okay, yes. Then the mind training. These are your teachers. Wow, although you're able to take the other person as a teacher or not, it doesn't matter. At least this information says that don't shout. Don't shout. You have read, you have practiced, you have studied that the people who cause trouble on you, the troublemakers, they are more precious than your teachers. Okay, then if I'm to shout the person, otherwise like at the say a volume, a 10 volume, I may reduce to 8 volume. Even that is a success of this Dharma. So these are the real information that I have. And whereas I practice all these deities and so forth, yes. But to be very honest, nothing, no change at all. Blessings are there, no doubt, blessings there. But the concrete change is nothing because of the visualization of deities in this, no, 100%. And I personally studied Tantra after completing my Geshe degree, studied Tantra very intensely, and seriously did my practices, but no, now I'm seeing the deities, never happened. What really happened was the reflection impermanence, suffering, and the COVID-19, feeling of uncertainty. Now look, Dorji, okay, everybody's having this feeling of uncertainty. Dorji, what about you? Okay, this uncertainty is there. Yes, it become what the Buddha taught becomes so vivid now. But do you feel the fear? Yes, of course, but not as intense as otherwise. Because of what? Because of this teaching of the Buddha on impermanence, not about the tantric practice, not about this, the luminosity of my mind, clear light mind. Right, and then not because of that, because of the practices what they just say the suffering, impermanence. Okay, I'll say say somebody gives you, I'll say like good things, and now because of I think is that because of the age, not so excited with the gadgets and so forth. Although younger days, yes, gadgets, because that we were brought up in a multiple time, and then if somebody gives you a good pen, or maybe even a good pen, yeah, you feel that is so on the impermanence, right? Good pen, wow, put it there. Another good pen, wow, good pen. And then what is that? What is that pen? A very good pen. What is Mont Blanc? Wow, Mont Blanc in the innermost of the. So this is what is bound to happen to. This is how we have. Look at ourselves, many of us, we have how many the pair of shoes? Like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pairs of shoes, right? And then Gucci bags, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And how many you need? And how many bags you have? Just check your storehouse, you will see minimum 5, 6, 7, 10, some people 20, 30, 50, 60, 100, for sure. For sure. I'm not saying that this is bad. It simply reflects our mind. What is mind? This is how, I say our mind grows. It keeps growing in bad things, growing in good things. So if the growth is like bad things like 40%, just imagine without Dharma, it would be like 80%. Even that is a success. Okay, so this is how we have to reflect on. With this in mind, we should be very realistic. So finally, I'm spending a lot of time on this part just to share with you, to remind myself that what is a real Dharma which actually helps you. There's a Tibetan expression which says that the the picnic food, the party food given to you by your other relatives, and the simple food that your mother gives. The simple food that your mother gives is more precious, because this is what sustains you every day. You will not get the party food every day. It's only once in a while. But the mother's food you get every day out of the love of the mother. That is what sustains you. That is more precious than the party food. So these practices, impermanence, say the reflection of suffering nature, the reality of the life, and then emptiness, bodhicitta, they are so precious, so precious. These are like the mother's food. They will sustain you. They will keep you. They will actually bring about transformation in you. This transformation, that will help you. The picture of the pizza will not help you. The real pizza will help you. Picture of the pizza will not help us to remove our hunger. The real pizza will help you. So however small the real pizza is, that will help you. The elegant picture of the elegant pizza will not help you. So the point is that we have to have these. Then with these three principal parts there within us, then you can go for the esoteric practices. Then they will make sense. When you are when you prove to be a genius, then everybody will give you, award, Nobel Prize, and the American what the highest civilian prize. All this will given to you when you prove that you are somebody. So we have to prove that we are somebody through these practices, through three principal parts. Then the tantra, all these things, they are like the Nobel laureates given to you because you are amazing. So first you have to prove that you are amazing. So how to prove that is with the three principal parts. So let's see what the three principal parts are. So the first it says, Lama Tsongkhapa, I bow down to the venerable lamas. This is the veneration. This is so important. I bow down to the venerable lamas. In some traditions, particularly with the modern educated people from wherever, the Westerners, Easterners, modern educated people, the tendency is that because the upbringing is very different. You go to university and you meet with the professors, or in the school teachers, and then the professors they teach you, and the connection is very different. It's very different. So the point is that with the dharma, there should be okay. In this connection, what I'm saying is that pertaining to dharma, we see that there are different traditions where even the very modern educated people, when they go to these places, then where they emphasize so much on the guru devotion, and then other places where there's no emphasis at all, it is like a Western education, the modern education, university education. And these two are the two extremes. So what I will say is that first, before jumping to look for root gurus and so forth, make sure that you are in a position to choose the correct teacher. That is so important before you blindly jump to look for a guru teacher, root guru. Okay, so that is one thing. For that matter, you need to have a very good amount of knowledge, profound knowledge of dharma and so forth, and then you will be in a position to see who is the right teacher, and then you decide. Before that, before you being equipped with the good knowledge of dharma, then simply because of the fame and the name, you jump, and later on you regret. So once you see somebody as your teacher, unlike the university teacher, the pursuit to dharma, this is very different. So you should be very serious with that. Okay, then next it says, as well as I'm able, I'll explain the essence of all the teachings of Buddha. So as well as I'm able, this is just to express his humility. And the essence of all the teachings of the Buddha. So, which means that what we are studying here, this is like the essence, the very comprehensive picture of the teachings of Buddha. The path praised by the conqueror's children, meaning the Bodhisattvas. The path which the Bodhisattvas actually tread on. not just what they hear, they actually tread on a path praised by the Congress children. Entrance for those who desire liberation. And so these three principal paths, if you enter into this, you actually enter into, you're not entering into the picture of the gate. You are entering the real gate. Entrance for those who desire liberation from samsara and liberation from cognitive affliction, the cognitive obscurations. Okay. This teaching Lama Tsongkhapa composed at the request of one of his students from faraway place, and who, of course, who himself was a renowned practitioner, scholar, and somebody the influential person there. And he sent a message to Lama Tsongkhapa, who was in central Tibet, from the eastern side of Tibet, sent a message to him through somebody to requesting him to give a teaching in written. And then Lama Tsongkhapa, as response, in response to his request, then this composition was made and sent to him. And at the end he addressed, "O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination and quickly reach the final aspired goal." So this is the verse then concluded by saying, "O my child," meaning his spiritual child, once you've thus realized these 3 points, the points of the 3 principal paths, then you have to seek solitude. Don't waste your time just the frolicking here and there. Instead, cultivate strong determination and quickly reach the final aspired goal of fearlessness, which is nirvana, and Buddhahood, which is the infinite happiness. Okay. So with this in mind, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I remember His Holiness doing his public teachings on the 3 principal aspects of the path. I remember His Holiness saying that the last verse, as you read this, if you can visualize, imagine that Lama Tsongkhapa is actually talking to you, is actually instructing you, "Oh my child," meaning that literally he was referring to you. If you can feel that, if you can make yourself to feel that, then you are building a very strong karmic connection with Lama Tsongkhapa, and no doubt that you will meet with Lama Tsongkhapa in the future lifetimes and be guided by him. Okay. With this in mind, let's continue from the 2nd verse. "Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones." Okay, you fortunate ones. What is meant by fortunate ones? So when we say that somebody who is ultra rich, we say, "Oh, this is there's the wealth is the result of the merit accumulation, is the indication of somebody being very fortunate." Yes, that's very true. And then somebody having a very, very, very healthy, attractive physical, the appearance, and very good family. Oh, this is, so look at a family, it's broken family, so much fires, domestic violence, those things happening, and look at this that family, so, good, so harmonious. So they're very fortunate. Yes, there's also another sign of indication of being fortunate. But being fortunate or being meritorious, there are 2 kinds. One is a mundane understanding of being fortunate or being meritorious, and the other one is the real meaning of fortunate ones. Say, simply because somebody is poor, if somebody is so poor, financially so poor, physically so weak, yes, of course, from the mundane point of view, this is very unfortunate. But this person can be really the most fortunate one in real sense, in true sense of the word. So what is the real meaning of the fortunate one? Somebody who meets with the environment and who connects oneself with the environment, where your mental qualities grow. These people are the real fortunate ones. Let me say it again. Those people, no matter what your financial status is, your social status is, the health status is, but that person connects oneself to the dharma. In other words, connects oneself to the system, environment, and the teachings and so forth, which will give rise to a genuine transformation of one's mind. That is the real meaning of being a fortunate person. So whereas somebody, the materially well off, physically very healthy, good family, in a good, place and so forth, yes, they are fortunate in terms of, in a mundane sense. But the mundane sense of being a fortunate person may be a hindrance or a deterrent factor for you being a real fortunate one. Oftentimes, very rich people, they don't connect themselves to the dharma. Oftentimes, it's not the case. It's not with all the cases, but most of the cases, when somebody is very young, or there's a physical attraction there, physical is so young and attractive, so forth. Again, the person to be pulled towards dharma is very less likely. So, and then somebody who's very famous, again turning towards dharma is very less likely. So these can be mundane, they say being the meritorious in mundane sense can be a great deterrent factor for one to be meritorious. So what is meant by you fortunate ones here refers to those people whose mind, you are rich, your mind turns towards dharma. You are poor, mind turns towards dharma. You are very famous, you turn towards dharma. You are not famous, you still turn towards. That is the indication of the person being very meritorious. In some cases, some people, who are very poor, then who become wealthy, then most likely their mind may be deviated away from dharma. But there are some people, they become very wealthy, their mind especially turns towards dharma. Or some people who be wealthy and suddenly become poor, then there's a wake-up call. The person turns towards dharma. Even that is very fortunate. Somebody who's exceptionally very healthy and very attractive, and suddenly the health simply dips down and becomes so sick and like a terminal illness, and the mind can turn towards dharma. Even that is so precious. We are very fortunate. And so one time, before I set for the Geshe degree, I was constantly very sick. I had the severe ulcer problem. And then one of my teachers was so keen that I should sit for the Geshe Haramba degree, the one which is respected the most. And I was not keen because that I had health issues and so forth. And then I went to the other teacher, and I have to report to all my teachers. Okay, now I'm not going to sit for this exam. And one teacher said that. So I reported to him about the ill health, and he said, "You are very meritorious." I was a little taken aback. And then I said, "Why, sir? You are saying that I'm meritorious?" He said that if you become sick, this will be a reminder for your dharma. Wow, that's a great the piece of the advice. Extremely pit instruction. This is a real pit instruction. Yes. So whereas some people, when they become sick, their mind will turn away from dharma. Some people who are rich, who become poor, their mind will turn away from dharma. So that is very unfortunate. Whereas under any situation, if your mind turns towards dharma, that is the indication of you being very fortunate. Okay, let's continue. Okay. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones. Somebody who is wise to look for fearlessness and to look for expansive happiness, or to look for the fearlessness, technically nirvana, and expansive happiness, technically Buddhahood. Anybody who is seeking these two, they are the fortunate ones. If you are really serious with these two, then the next advice, the pieces of advice follow. who are not attached to the joys of cyclic existence. Okay, you know, so when we have, say, the birthday parties, you enjoy some food, family gatherings, fine, there's nothing wrong in it. So overall speaking, your love for dharma and your love for the mundane joys, your love for dharma should supersede the love for the mundane happiness. If that happens, that's fine. And you can improve on this. Otherwise, if your love for the mundane happiness supersedes the love for the dharma, that is very sad. That's very unfortunate. Okay, strive to make good use of leisure and opportunity. In this life, we have obtained this leisure and opportunity, meaning a favorable birth where you have opportunity, you have facilities to practice the dharma. So, and to make good use of that and direct your minds to the path that pleases the Buddhas. So what do you do? For example, say for a child, generally speaking, for a young child and the parents, if the child does something and if that really makes the parents happy, which means what the child is doing is meaningful. If the child does something and it makes the parents very unhappy, which means what the child is doing is not good for the child. Okay, so direct your minds to the path that pleases the Buddhas, meaning that Buddhas are like your parents. They really literally, and we may, you know, it may sound like the Buddhas always been revered so much, you know, to please them. No, that's not the point. You can become a Buddha. Each one of you, just imagine yourself going from where you are now to the Gate, Parasanga, the Bodhisattva. When you reach the Bodhisattva, what would be your mental thinking like? Your mind, so in the first place, how does it grow? Gate, your compassion should keep growing. Your wisdom should keep growing. Only then the Gate happens. When the growth is ultimate, that is when you become a Buddha. When you become Buddha, then there's love and affection. Love and affection that the mother feels towards the child. What is it like? This is what you feel towards all the beings, and intensity-wise multiplied by infinite times. This is who you are. So this is where all the Buddhas, they are like your parents. So what you please the Buddhas, you are in a proper track, which means that it's not for the Buddhas, it's for yourself. To see, this is one of the measures to see what I'm doing, whether or not what I'm doing is meaningful, wholesome, or it is destructive. If this is something that the Buddhas feel happy about, or what are you doing is perfectly right. Okay. Now the 3 points: the renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness. Why these 3 points? So what we said is that we have 2 final goals: fearlessness and infinite happiness. 2. If you're happy out there, if you're happy with this, that yes, I fully agree with this, whatever religion that you're following, whatever gender you are, whatever ethnicity, but these are 2 things everybody is seeking. If you agree with me, raise hands. Yes. Okay. The one time there was one girl, and I think the ancestors, they were all Buddhist, and somehow the parents, they turned to Christianity, and she's into Buddhism. And one day I told her that so because of this, then the parents and the child, there's a little complication there. I said, I'd like to meet your dad. And the girl said, no. My dad will not accept you. I said, don't worry, it's not your job. Your job is to pass a message. And it is your dad's job to say no. It's your job is to pass a message. If you once pass a message, whether he says yes, no, that is his business. It's not your business. And if he says no, then he has done his job. He says yes, he has done his job. That is his job. It's not your job. Just pass a message. Then she passed a message, and the answer was no. Then she said, No, my dad doesn't want to meet you. I said, fine, you have done a job. Your dad has done his job. Perfect now. Then the next year, again, I told the girl, I'd like to meet your dad. She said, then she freaked, literally freaked. And I said, why are you freaking? He will not accept. No, it's not a business. Your business is a pass message. And it's his business to say yes or no. Again, she passed a message and she was so astonished, perplexed. Wow, what happened? My dad accepted the request. Okay, then I was there. I met him. I was sitting with him. And he was like really giving me a lecture on, say, the Christianity. That, you know, we should follow the instruction of the God. And everything is because of God. We cannot do anything against the God things. You'll be punished. All sorts of things. I was listening to him. So I was yes. If I said no, he would say, get out. 100%. So I said, yes. And then he's saying that nobody can go anything against the God's will. So whatever is happening is all the God's will. I said, yes. Yes. And then finally, the girl was not married at that time. Girl was not married. And then he said that, and then gradually he started to feel comfortable with me because I always said yes. I was a yes minister to him. And he was very happy. So he felt very comfortable with me. And then he said that, so he felt that, okay, so he is my daughter's teacher. So now he is to, you know, I click so well with him. So he doesn't contradict with, you know, what I say. So now, and this girl listens to him more than he listens to me. So then he was finding other hopes that, okay, now if I persuade this man that the girl should get married, then he will tell her and then she will listen. Then he started to go into this area. But look at this girl. She's of age, but she's still not married. Then I said that, what are you doing? Then he said, what? You are going against God's will. God does not want her to marry at this age now. So you're going against God's will. You cannot go against God's will. Then he said, but she's my daughter. Look. So there are two layers there. One layer is the superficial belief system with which they are fighting. And deep inside, there's another system there. And the system, self-centered attitude and self-grasping ignorance. These two are there in the inner layer. Outer layer is the superficial thing that they've learned. So they try to interact with other people on that basis. But inside there's this, but she's my daughter, which means that, when it comes to my selfishness, self-centered attitude and the God, the self-centered attitude is more important than the God. To fulfill this selfishness, if you are to discard the God, discard the God. Disobey the God, disobey the God. This is the people's mindset. Okay. So with this in mind, what I'm saying is that we are all, whatever religion that you're following, whatever belief system, deep inside, everybody is seeking fearlessness and infinite happiness. This is the reality. If you are convinced of this is so important. Believe it or not, that everybody falls under this category. So with this in mind, so now this fearlessness, where you are free from the fears of miseries, fear, any form of fears, from a very tiny fear like okay, I'll say the COVID, when will I get the vaccine, right? Before you got the vaccine, when will I get the vaccine? I wish I get the vaccine as soon as possible, right? For example, in my case, with the second vaccine, let's say my sister, she was constantly calling me 1 month ahead of the time for this second vaccine. Did you get the second vaccine? Did you get the second vaccine? She was constantly asking me. And then I said, no, not yet. Still we have time. No, it's actually good. Even if you get it a little one month early, it's fine, right? So why? She wants the ease that her brother is safe. Again, she's looking for the ease, and there's the feeling of the unease and the fear that anytime my brother may contract COVID, goes being in Delhi. This fear was there, and then if he gets the vaccine, then this fear temporarily the fear subsides. So this is what she's seeking. In other words, everyone is seeking the fearlessness and the infinite happiness. Okay. Now, if this is what we are seeking, number one, fearlessness, just tell me, give me a blueprint or roadmap. How can we achieve that? Whether or not that is achievable, that's 100% possible, is achievable. All these fears are nothing but the fears. It is similar to the fears that we are going through in the dreams. All the fears that are going through in the dream is all because of the belief that the dream is real. Wake up, and all the fears related to the dream will stop. Wake up. Wake up from the sleep of ignorance, and all the fears of samsara will stop. How to wake up? How to wake up? First of all, there are two things. One, the aspiration to wake up, and the other one is the means to wake up. Let's not forget it. Aspiration to wake up and the means to wake up. If we don't have the aspiration to wake up, we will never wake up. We need the aspiration to wake up. What is that aspiration to wake up? First of all, you need to know what is waking up. What is the state of the waking up like? You need to know that. In other words, when you wake up, what's the state like? The state where you realize that the dream is not real. State where you are freed from all the fears of the dream. That is the waking state. You have to first know that. Once you know that, you compare that state with the state that you are in the dream, how you are so much tormented by the contents of the dream. Compare the two, you see that unless and until I achieve that state of waking up, I will never be freed from the fears of the dream, fears created by the dream. Then you diligently wish to achieve that state. May I achieve that state where I wake up and all my miseries stop. That aspiration is known as renunciation, number one. So this is the aspiration required for one to achieve the fearlessness. The renunciation as the aspiration. And this is, all these miseries, stop sharp. This is not the renunciation. For example, I remember one of my friends, a professor, a very senior, respected professor, and I was with him in his house for 5 days. And his wife is more a housewife. And two of us were sitting on the dining table, and we were having some discussions. And I was talking about, samsara, and so forth. And then the next birth, so we should, take care of. So, and this lady, the girl, the wife, said that, no, I'll not come to the next life. I said, wow, why? She said, I'm fed up with this life. I'll not come to my next life. This is a clear indication that the person is so naive. Person does not know how the life operates on the basis of the 12 links of dependent origination. There's no choice. It's not your choice that, I will come, I'll not come. No, it's not like going to a shop or not going to a shop. It's not like that, right? So the person does not know the mechanism. If you know the mechanism, then that is a wise person person who knows how this suffering perpetuates and how this suffering can possibly come to an end by a mechanism A. So what is that? What is that state like where your miseries will come to an end completely altogether? And what's the mechanism which you can take which will take you there? Once you know that, then the desire, a very strong desire, that may I achieve that state where I wake up from the sleep of ignorance and that I will not be affected by the contents of the dream anymore. And that is the meaning of the renunciation. So without this renunciation, then waking up is impossible. Waking up from the sleep of ignorance is impossible. That's number one. Number two is the bodhicitta. Infinite happiness. What we are seeking is, the second part is the infinite happiness or the infinite ease, infinite fulfillment. What is that like? What is that like? Again, that is a state. Just imagine that, say, our real life experiences that we have encountered, that we have experienced. Just try to relate this to our own life, to the Dharma. Let's say that you are in a workplace where nobody is kind to you. Everybody has, his or her own problems, and not really bothered to, to talk to you and so forth. It's very suffocating in that place. And then your home, extremely beautiful home. Your mom, your dad, your brothers, sisters, they are so loving, caring towards you. They miss you, you miss them. But in this area, in the workplace, which is about like a few thousand, they say a few hundred kilometers at distance, and you are sitting there in your own room, you feel so lonely, you miss your parents, you miss your family, and you go to the workplace, that's even more suffocating for like, say, 5-6 months. It's so suffocating that you may go in there, there's a tendency that you go into depression. Just feel that. Okay, how many you had experiences similar to this? Raise hands. Okay, almost all of us. Neeraj, no. Neeraj, yes. Okay. So almost all of us. Now with this, just imagine that from there, suddenly there's a COVID outbreak. Just imagine there's a COVID outbreak, and then now all the staff, you go to your respective homes. So the office is going to be closed for the next 2 months, and may extend further. What's your feeling like? Wow, I'm so happy to go back to the family. And you reach home, particularly day one, is so where you feel so your mind simply eases. It is like the bundle of cotton, tied so tightly by the metallic, the wires, and suddenly you let go of break the metallic wire. What happens? This cotton squeeze will just blow like this. This is what happens to your mind. The moment you reach your home with so loving parents, meeting your extremely loving, caring parents, and your brothers, sisters, your mind is like this cotton is simply like explodes and expands with so much ease. Okay. This is the meaning of easing your mind. Why? Why do you feel this ease? Which do you want? The feeling of the suffocation at the office, the workplace, or the feeling of this great ease the day one you reach your home? Which of two you want? Of course, the second one. If you want the second, what's the difference? What's the difference? Anybody raise hands? What's the difference? What's the difference? Anybody raise hands? What's the difference between these two? What makes the difference? Anybody? Smitaji, you like to share? Or no? What makes a difference? At this workplace, you feel suffocation. And with your family, then you feel just total relaxation. What makes this difference? Anybody? Anybody? Raise hands. Just raise hands. Okay, Gumbala.
Okay. Because our parents don't judge us, he'll accept us as we are.
Very good. Thank you. And know it.
I meant to say the same that he said.
Okay. Yeah,
We
thank you, Noel.
Familiar among our dear ones, and we feel a lot of affection and love.
Perfect. This is what I was about to ask. Why at home you don't feel that your family members are judging you? Because of the affection. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Good. So now look, just imagine. So like there's the mind, your mind. What feels ease? What feels suffocating is your mind. So this mind, when you feel the affection, what happens is that there's all these chains which bind you, they're broken, and then you can freely move. Your mind can freely move. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Very good. Now just imagine that if you are able to extend this mind, let it flow freely to all the beings. That is the greatest of the ease. That is the greatest of the ease. So how to make this happen? Where your mind flows freely towards all the beings, how to make it happen? This is through cultivating unconditional love towards all the beings. This unconditional love, wishing to help all the beings in the most effective way, is known as the Bodhisattva. So this Bodhisattva, number 2 of the 3 principal parts, number 2 is the one which allows us, or which is the motivation, I will become Buddha to benefit all the beings. This is the motivation which opens the first entry to the world of the expansive happiness, infinite happiness. So Bodhisattva's motivation required to get the infinite happiness, technically referred to as the Buddhahood. Bodhisattva required as the intention. So we have the 2 intentions. Renunciation for the total fearlessness, and the Bodhisattva for the infinite happiness, referred to as Buddhahood, and the total fearlessness referred to as the Nirvana. So we have these 2 Bodhisattvas. What do we need? We need the means. The Bodhisattva, with this Bodhisattva, now we need the means to accomplish that. What does that means? Say, to know what the means is, we have to know that, first of all, we need to know that the fearlessness and the infinite happiness, both are there within us in the form of seed. What we are seeking, the 2 goals, fearlessness and the infinite happiness. These 2 are there within each one of us in the form of seeds, known as a Buddha nature. It's already within us. If it is there, why don't we experience that? It's because it is like the gold mixed with the soil, mixed with the mud. When the gold is mixed with the mud, no matter how brilliant, how expensive this gold is, it's not visible because of the mud. What should you do? Remove the mud, separate this gold from the mud, remove the mud from the gold. Okay, so likewise, if we have these potentials within us, the fearlessness and the infinite happiness within us, why do we don't see that? Why don't we experience that? It's because these 2 are being blocked or obstructed by the mental obscurations or mental defilements. And given that there are 2 goals, there are 2 mental defilements. One is afflictive obscurations, and the other one is cognitive obscurations. The mental defilement, the set of mental defilements which obscure us from achieving this fearlessness, is known as afflictive obscurations. And the set of mental defilements which obstruct us from achieving the infinite happiness is known as cognitive obscurations. So these two mental defilements are there. Knowing that these two are the mental defilements, now we have to apply the detergent, like the remedies or the antidotes, the measures. What measures to take to remove these mental defilements? You all have to extremely powerful enthusiasm, the passion to remove to get to these two goals. Now, knowing that these are two defilements which stop you from achieving these two goals, your determination, this enthusiasm will move to get rid of these two defilements. So how to get rid of these two defilements? We have to know the nature of these defilements. And once you know what kind of say the dirt, what kind of the stain, you have to apply the detergent accordingly. Say if it is just ordinary the soil, just no water, that's fine. You don't need the water is good. Water is going to be the remedy. But if that is the grease, if there's a grease, no matter how much you dip in the water, it will not go away. So you have to apply the lemon related detergents. That is required. And where in some cases it is, that some stains are very different, you need a different detergent. So now in this case, the mental defilements, they are the nature of what? Nature of ignorance, number one, and the subtle stain of the ignorance. Ignorance given rise to all the offshoots in the form of, say, the contaminant karmas, gross afflictions, so forth. Ignorance, and the ignorance and its offshoots forming the afflictive obscurations, and the subtle stains of the ignorance, that forms the cognitive obscurations. And now, seeing that all these defilements, somehow we can see into two forms. Ignorance and its offshoots, number one, and the other one, subtle stains of the ignorance and its offshoots. In both cases, it is a mental stain. It's not a physical stain, mental stain. So the remedy that you apply should also be a mental remedy. What is that mental remedy? The remedy which is directly in opposition to the mental defilements pertaining to the object of apprehension. Ignorance is what? Ignorance is the mind, the mind which distorts the reality. So the wisdom should be the one to discern the reality as it is, as a counterforce to this ignorance. So we have to apply the wisdom, this wisdom of emptiness. So this wisdom of emptiness is one which employed properly with the correct determination, then will remove the two defilements. So this is how you can achieve the two goals, the fearlessness in the form of nirvana and the infinite happiness in the form of Buddhahood. So the wisdom of emptiness as the means to accomplish the two goals, and renunciation and the bodhicitta as the motivations, indispensable motivations required to start the journey of accomplishing these two things. Okay. So this is the summary. This is a broad picture of why we need these three parts, and why these three parts are known as the principal parts, three principal parts. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll come back after 1 hour.
Thank you, Geshe.